assembly programming, though in terms of or in context of implementing an assembler. So we are exactly going to program now majority of things. So like I would be giving, I would be taking at least 2 to 3 programs in every session. Okay, so that you people can write this, okay? And then you can work out the remaining part of programs. So if we recall correctly, like what we saw was in respect of the assembly program, there is a structure used by every assembly program, okay, which contains set of instructions. One line is dedicated with one instruction. Uh, every instruction would be translated by assembler to some object code, and we already have seen the method of creating an object code. So we are not really worrying about now how to convert it. Our task majorly would be how to write the program so that we can minimize the load. Fine. So you can create a similar kind of folder for you so that all programs that are written by you or shared by me, you can add it there. Fine. So let us start with okay. So there would be 3 elements mainly. Okay, rather generally can be seen as 4. So we will recall few things in first few sessions. So we said there would be data. This data section contains say everything which is initialized. Okay, so like you use different things like there is db for define byte, dd for word, sorry double, dw for word, dd for double, dq for quad, and dt for 10, dt equal to 10. Fine. So this would be the kind of assembly directive that you would be using to rather create the thing, like create the variables. So generally mainly referred as declaratives. Fine. So you give name as the way that you write an identifier. Okay, so you give first name, say for example variable name to be like this. So you write say db, then you either write a character. Okay, there can be a number also associated. Now what are the number that you write here? This should be treated. One minute, seems there is loose connection. Please wait. My laptop got disconnected. Yeah. So I'm back. Yeah. So like as I said, so we would be using this way. So whenever I'm using some thing like something like this in terms in front of say db, this would be converted to ASCII character specifically. Fine. So like if I write a1 dw ab, so one character one byte, that's why. So b1 dw 1020. Suppose if I write like this. Okay. Similarly e2 dd abcd, so 4 values. Okay, because this would be 4 bytes. So when you do talk about this byte, this would be 1. Everything goes into this way, like computation power increases this way. 1 2 4, then this is 8, and this is 10. Okay, like so say A2, then you declare B2 DD. So 1 0 2 0. So let me write like this only, so that you can understand how exactly it is translated. I will keep the same thing. Okay, I increase the number of characters only here to represent the things. Okay, so like you write section RO data. This is read-only data. So this generally would be containing messages which you probably may use in say printf kind of function or putf kind of function or scanf, so on. Okay, so like you write say message, you give message, so you simply write this. So say db, because as you are writing some constant data, read-only data, which cannot be manipulated. It can be either of them, like you can use either of these rather for representation for this RO data too. So definition mechanism would be similar. Only thing is like this can be manipulated, this can be only read. You cannot modify these things. So this is a sample. Okay, there is something called as BSS. So section.bss. Fine. So this would be meant mainly for say for example containing uninitialized variables or identifiers. Whatever is not initialized would be going into this. So here, as a problem perspective, like how the kind of things that you use would be. So you replace D by RES in these all cases. So you write res B, res D, say res W, res D, rest, rescue, and rest. Fine. So definition mechanism is what? Identifier. Then you use either of these, res and then either B, W, D, Q or T. One of the character, res and one of them. Okay, and then you specify size. Okay, so or count. So it results to what? So for identifier, what are the identifier that you write? So whatever the count is depending upon the size. So count multiplied by this size. So in bracket we have mentioned this size. So B means 1 byte, 2 byte, 4 byte, 8 byte, 10 byte. So either of them, like either B or W or D or Q or T, depending upon what you used here. Okay, so it will reserve this RES is reserve. Okay, reserve those many bytes. What are the count that is specified here? Okay, so like if I say res D10, so that means 10 multiplied by D means 4. So 10 multiplied by 4, so that would be 40. Okay, if I write quad, so rescue 10, so it would be 10 multiplied by 8. Correct? So that's how it would be computed. So your mechanism simply would be like this. So say A3, res B1, or let us say 10, B3, res W10. So in this case, number of bytes reserved would be 10 bytes reserved, and they are named as A3. In this case, number of bytes reserved would be 10 multiplied by 2, so 20 bytes. Similarly, if I write C3 res D 10, so this would be 40. Fine. Why 40? Because we wrote D there. Fine. Similarly, if I write D4 rescue 10, so this would be 10 multiplied by 8, so 80 bytes. Fine. So this is how the number of bytes would be resolved. Okay. There is another important part of the code. Like this is where you declare your data. So your data would be like in OS or operating system perspective, data would be going into data section only. Fine. But data might be scattered in different form. So data might be initialized one, data might be uninitialized one, data might be constant one. So majority number of times you would see like whatever the constant is, your translator takes them into RO data kind of stuff. Okay, I will introduce that part also to you. Okay, other part like your program may or may not contain all these three. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, maybe none of them. It may contain only this one, where you are exactly going to write the executable code. So you write section.txt. Okay, and this may contain this common form. So you write global main. As we are using NASM as an assembler for this semester, as well as probably if some of you continue from MSc continue this course into like SD4. Okay, where we are going to work with exact source code of assembler. At that time, like we are going to make use of NASM only. Okay, so you write main here so as to tell the entry point for the code, executable code. That's and as we are using GCC as a linker, LD as a linker, okay, with GCC. So that's why we will be writing global main every time. So if at all you are making use of some external functions, okay, which are from library, so you write extern say printf. Okay, so that means you are referring to a printf function. So if you go to main and then you simply write your code. Say for example, there is an instruction called rate. There is instruction called no operation. Okay, so your instructions may vary from like number of characters. Some instructions are 2 characters size. Okay, likewise you give them, for example, if you talk about say or, this would be one operation that you will have. Okay, there might be an operation called AND. Okay, XOR, correct, and so on. Similarly, there can be an instruction with 4 characters. There can be instruction with 5 characters too. So depending upon the usage perspective, there are thousands of, maybe in thousands number of instructions probably would be. So we are going to make use of most of them rather, and even what are the instructions are when we do talk about number of characters included into that instruction to write as an operation. These all are represented or called as mnemonics. Okay, nop, rate, or for example, move. Okay, add, sub, mul, and each one of them may have different parameters in the terms of operands. Some instructions may not have any operand, so these would be no operand here. Okay, this may contains 2 operands. This may contain again 2 operands. Same case with this. This may contain 1 operand. Okay, now how operations are really carried out, we would be talking definitely about them. Fine. So like you may think of that, can there be 3 operands too? It may or may not be there depending upon the assembler that you are using. So the assembler that we are going to make use of would be NASM, NATE-wide assembler. Okay. Now simply like suppose if I go along with this only as say main, you write this. So your template would be section.data, like depending upon whether you want that variables to be added or not. If you don't want data to be declared, you can skip this. RO data whenever there is a constant thing. So let me print this message for a while. MSG, this is a sample. So how you write? So you write push MSG, call printf, and as we are pushing into the stack, because whenever there is a function call, we are going to, by the way, we are going to talk basically about stack in a detailed manner after maybe in next week or probably next to next week. Okay, But prior to that, we would be using this way only. So call printf, and whatever you pushed, every push comprises 4 bytes. Okay, one push into the stack. This is an address. So every address, like if I talk about the assembler that we are going to make use of would be i32, Intel architecture 32 assembler. Okay, as well as the instruction set. So now address, the memory address is recognized by 4 bytes every time. So that is the reason why whenever you are pushing something into the stack, your stack pointer would be increased by 4. So whenever you are pushing something, you have to clear. So this concept is called as prologue and epilogue, which even like while we do talk about stack, we are going to address that part. So you write simply here add ESP comma 4. Every time you push one symbol into the stack, if you want to clear that, you either pop it or you write add ESP comma 4. So if you push a 10, in this case, I could have written simply like pop. It could have solved my problem. Correct? But the thing is, like if I have hundreds of variables, then I cannot write pop directly every time, all those 100 number of times pop. So in such a case, I would be writing only 100 multiplied by 4, so 400, for example. Correct? In this case, I added only one, so I will write this one. So you simply save this. So your program name should be some name with an extension .asm. Fine. So you saved it. Go to the terminal. Write this nasm dash f elf 32, because we want a 32-bit file to be created as an object code for your assembler. Fine. And you simply write your program name. Now when you do this, if you see towards the bottom, rather, an object code is created. So if I write a file command, okay, so this tells me that 1.asm C source ASCII text. So it is assuming that it is kind of C source. So it will let us know later, probably depending upon what you use inside accordingly. If I write 1.0, it tells me that it is ELF 32-bit LSB relocatable. Okay, so this is an object code. ELF means ELF is executable and linkable file. Okay, so this is what this ELF is. So you simply write now now like we have this 1.2. Now we have to create an executable. So you write GCC -m32 1.2. Now if there is no error, then it will return back on the cursor. And if I write now this, you can see that an executable was created. So you simply write file a.out. You can see this ELF 32-bit LSB shared object. Now earlier it was relocatable object. Now it is shared object. So this a.out is a by default name created by your C compiler on Linux platform whenever you are making use of GCC. Okay, GNU C compiler collection to create an executable. Fine. So this is an executable dynamically linked. It says an interpreter is used internally there. Okay. Now if I have to execute this, so you simply write this. So you will see that it executed that file the way that we may or we could have executed a C code. Fine. Okay, so any query about this? So now let us try to by the way, let me give you time to ask a question, and then we will write our first program. No? Okay, so let me go to let me write one program which will print details of mine. Okay, as an case, this is your first program that you will be writing. I want you to display, like if you have laptops with you, my suggestion would be whenever you are attending either of the course like LLAP or ADC, suggestion as well as a request to you, like if you have laptop with you, it would be better always, or desktop probably, where you can try these things, whatever the things that I am trying to tell to you. Fine. So let us write our simple code. Okay. here I want to display my name and address. Okay, so let me do this. So let me write section dot data my address. So this is my variable, my address. So I'm writing this Nitin P. Patil. Okay, so suppose if I write like this, so say my name, then let us write my department, DB, Department of Computer Science. Okay, my designation, say DB Assistant Professor. Okay, now suppose if I want to display this, so what I can do, let me write now section dot text. Now I could have taken this into RO data too. Okay, so but right now like I took it into this dot data. So this is say I will write global main colon. Now as we have to print this, so let me add instead of say printf, I will write extern puts. Okay, so let us see. So let me push my name, call puts, add esp comma 4. Correct. Now let us see what happens, what it displays. Have you seen like what I wrote here? Can you understand? Have you understood it? What I said, I declared 3 variables which are containing values. So first variable contains my name, second variable contains my department details, and third variable contains my designation. Now I want to display only my name. Now let us try to see. So simply you will write NASM-ELF32. Okay, our program name, then GCC-M32, your object code file name, and now simply execute. Oh, seems to be a problem because it displayed whole thing. I was expecting to display only Nitin P. Patil. Correct? Department of Computer Science Assistant Professor. It displayed whole thing. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting what? To display this part only. So if I add 10 here, okay, let us see what this 10 results to. Let me again do this. GCC get out. Now what happened? This 10 resulted to what? /n. But again, still it took same thing. What are the thing that I was expecting to be displayed? Okay, so let me go back. Let me write here 0. Now let us see. Answer GCC execute. Now can you see it displayed only Nitin P. Patil and /n? Yes, that means what? This 10 and 0 are significantly telling something. This 10 results to /n and this 0 results to /0. End of line. Correct. Now suppose if I remove this 10, save this, come out of it. Now compare the output. Okay, this output, whatever we saw here. Okay, and the output that I'm going to really generate now. What is the difference? I removed 10 from that code, and that's the reason why it is displaying only that line. Correct? Are you with me? Okay, so let me do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, somebody was asking something. Yes, Saurabh.
Sir, 10 stands for /n, and what does 0 stands for?
End of line.
Okay, okay.
Or like whenever you are at /, you must have heard na /0.
Yes.
It is like that only. Okay. So it is kind of end of line character. So let us go back. Now if I use printf, what would be the change? Now you must have seen, like here, when I displayed with 10, it displayed here, correct? When I removed that 10, it displayed this 10 and it came to next line. Now let us see what is the difference between printf and putS. So I want to use now printf2 here. Fine. Now I'm keeping this 0 only. I'm not adding 10, by the way. My name putS esp comma 4. Now here I am writing call printf. Now let us see. I added the same code, only I replaced putS by printf. Nice. GCC and now execute. Can you see the difference? What is the problem here? What is the difference between putS and printf in this case? Can somebody point out?
Printf does not take end of line.
Are you sure? It took, that's why it ended here, na? Otherwise, it could have printed this whole thing, na? It could have printed this Department of Computer Science, na? Completely. It hasn't displayed that. When we use printf, it displayed whole thing because we added 10 here, correct? But right now, what happened? It took /0 and that's why it stopped. Suppose now if you say it hasn't taken /0, let me remove that 0 from there and then you try to tell me what is happening. Okay, now find out what is the problem here. It definitely took 0 somewhere because it ended here. Okay, it ended here. Now I will make a small change again. Fine, for your to help you out. So now instead of my name, now I am taking my department. And now I am changing the order of printf and putS. So what we will do is I will add one variable here simply to add /n. Okay, now you can see what I did, what I wrote code here. I first displayed my name, so both of them should display my name. Now I changed the order. Okay, I added one new line character. Okay, 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 let me show you this. So instead of my department, I will take my name only, so that you can find. I changed the order of it, by the way. I earlier took putS first, correct? Then printf. Now I'm taking printf and then putS. Fine. Now see the change. So this /n was resulted because of that /n that we added, correct? This /n we haven't added. So if I okay, let me take my code in other window so that you can see. Now see, you see here, this push my name call put test, so it displayed this line, correct? And then it added next line too. Okay, then it displayed one more, it took one more line rather. After that line only it added this. Okay, and after this printf I added this new line character. So that's why this resulted to. And then I took printf first. Okay, in this case, so it printed this. So it hasn't taken a new line the way that it took here. Correct? Now, to see this problem, like you said that it is not taking 0. Actually, it is taking 0. Okay, now I am adding 0 there. Now it will be too much clear for you. Assemble, link, execute. Now see, can you point out now the difference of these 4? See, this is put as, it took to first line, correct? It took to next line. This printf, then after printf, it added new line, this new line, correct? That's why it came to next line. Then I had a printf, there is no space added. So printf requires always 10 to be added there. Now if I add here 10, comma 0, now see the change. Okay, I will keep that output there. Asm gcc execute. Now see the output. So putters already added, like what are the putters? It added here, it came to next line, correct? But here it added one more line because of that 10. This was 10 for first putters, one more line because it added here instead of 10, it came directly to second line. But when it came to second line, it added that 10 too. So printf that 10, like in this case, the 10 was not there, so it continued to next line directly. So it left one line here. So then it printed using printf. Then it took to next line where it took only, it never added one line there. Are you with me? Can somebody help me to understand this?
Yes,
What is
sir.
happening exactly? Yeah, please repeat. Please tell what exactly happened here.
Putters already have /n, but printf does not have.
So printf is kind of spoon feeding. Printf requires you to feed everything. Correct? Like /n is expected to be added there. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question? If you have, you can ask because it will help us to really work out the issue. Yes, please.
Sir, what about scanf?
Okay, so we'll work out with that scanf too. So I hope you understood this printf. Let me save this. Let me add both these files into chat so that you can use them for your reference. So if you are having laptop with you, try this. Okay, now before I move to say scanf, now you might be wondering why I wrote ESP comma 4. So let me save this with 3.asm. I saved this to 3.asm. Okay, so let me remove this. Now you must be worrying, or you must be wondering why I wrote there, say, add ESP comma 4. What is the reason of having it there? Okay, so if I don't write, then see what happens. Let us assemble. Correct. Let us assemble again. Sorry, we should have taken here 3.asm. Let us link 3.o and execute. Now what happened there? Can you see segmentation fault? It's a runtime error. It is because what you did was you played with memory. So in memory, stack is there. Execution stack is there always. Used by like one of the data structure used by memory manager to keep data of all your whenever we are talking about memory perspective, memory would be controlled in respect of execution perspective. So whenever a program is to be executed, we need to make use of different variables there. So there can be local variables, global variables, runtime arguments, function parameters, and so on. So everything that you write apart from global would be going into the stack. All your local variables go into the stack. Whatever the variables which are not global per se would be going there into the stack. All function parameters, the parameters that you use while writing the function definition would be added into the stack. Similarly, the runtime arguments also considered over there to be part of the stack. As well as it would be containing return address. Return address in the sense what? Suppose there's a function call. Currently I'm executing say in 2.asm. Now suddenly I gave call to printf. Now control would be passed to that library function printf. And it is going to execute it. And when execution is done, it will come back. How it will know where to come back? So return address is preserved every time with your stack pointer. Okay, so like there are multiple such registers used. So let us try to introduce ourselves. What are the different registers? So what I'm doing is I'm taking here 1.asm. I want to create say debug file ready for debugging purpose. So what I will do is I will write here -g -f dwarf. Okay, this is mandatory for you whenever you want a file to be ready for debugging. So let us see ls-ltr 1.o or ls-l. See the size. Huh? Now suppose if I don't write this -g -f dwarf. Now see the size. Is there any change in the size? Yes, because when you write this -g -f dwarf, actually you add debugging information into your file. That's what you did here. It did it for us. It added debugging information. Now when you write simply without -g -f dwarf, it never adds debugging information. And that's why the file size is this. So suppose if I go with this option, like 1.o is generated. Let me create an executable from this. There's a program called GDB, which is used as a debugger on Linux platform. So if I want to use it, I will write simply like this executable. So here you will see this information. No debugging symbols found in your executable. Fine. No debugging symbols found in your executable. So if I write now this way, my assembly code, if I write this command line argument for my NASM -g -f dwarf, if I create a executable and if I now execute, you will see that whatever the output earlier it was no debugging symbols found. Now it removed by saying reading symbols from .out. Now as we are working with Intel 32-bit processor, Intel or every processor has its own set of registers. There are different kind of registers depending upon the usage perspective. So let us try to see what are the different registers that you may make use of. So you write info all registers. Okay, what it said? The program has no registers now. Okay, so let us go and write breakpoint main and say run. Now program is in run mode. Now you write this info all registers. So these are your GPRs, general purpose registers. EAX, EBX, ECX, EDX, ESP, EBP, ESI, EDI. Okay, this is program counter, also called as instruction pointer. This is flag register. These all are segment registers. Okay, we would not be using these at all in this semester. Okay, right now. These all are like there is one more S6, ST6 and ST7 below. These are floating point registers. So if I include this, you will see this. See, ST0 to ST7 in this case. Okay, these all are floating point registers. These are control registers used by your floating point unit, FPU. Okay, please hold for a minute. So like these would be your yes. So these would be your control registers. Now there are multimedia operations. Now if I go into history of this Intel architecture, Intel started its work with 8085 register. 8085 processor. Then when we started using these personal computers, they were implemented with 8086 register. Then came 80186 and so on till Pentium. PC, PCXT, Pentium, 186, 286, 386 kind of machines. You might be in those days, you might be in school, or probably you might not have seen even the computer system that those days. So I started working with like while I started my education, I started working with 8086. Then multiple developments were there in the processor. So after 8086, when Windows came into market as an operating system, okay, the multimedia support was expected. They provided this support because iOS was supporting like earlier called as Macintosh operating system that started supporting different multimedia elements like audio, video, images, graphics, and so on. Correct. So like it gave rather a chance for these developers to work around. And they came up with some multimedia operations when audio video processing was expected. Like you have you really worried about have you really thought about this? Why you are taught vector algebra or vector analysis, vector maths? Correct. Why you like if you see probably in your course of CO, you must have learned something called as SIMD, SISD. If you haven't, try to find out what exactly they are. MISD, MIMD. Single instruction, single data, single instruction, multiple data, multiple instruction, single data, multiple instruction. Multiple instruction, multiple data, MIMD. These are the different categories of your processors. Okay, where your processor might belong to. So like if you see, when you work with these registers, they can manipulate these many values at a time. In one single shot, you will be manipulating these how many? 8. values. It is kind of a vector. So they add MMX registers used mostly for multimedia operations. Suppose like if I say for a while, okay, one please hold, let me attach my camera so that I can give you a demonstration. Okay, now think of this. Suppose this is a device that you have, a mobile. Now suppose you have to capture this. How you are reading this image? You go reading like this, correct? Character by character. Now this was kind of if I have to print this, then this would be dot matrix. Dot matrix printer कैसे print करते थे? It used to print character by character, correct? Then the technology changed. Suppose if you apply, say, I want to change this black color to red, what is to be done? So I should fire a command and all pixels which are included here, because this is the image generated using pixels. If I have to change it, how many parameters I can make it of? How many colors possibly could be there with respect to the support given by your system? Correct. So sometimes you will require like, okay, when I fire a command, it should automatically work out on the front by manipulating different set of registers. Correct? Different set of registers. Now, when it is to be done, now I am not talking about now only set of registers. There could be multiple things involved too. So can I work with a vector where when I fire one instruction, it should hamper all 8 elements? Okay, maybe I will introduce you this part towards end of the course, how exactly it works. I will be introducing you some of the instructions which can be probably useful for an individual to really understand. Fine. Okay, so like these registers are to be used, and these registers are always useful to write the code. Okay, so for your understanding, like I'm giving you names of the books. You may refer them. I don't mind if you are referring to those books. Okay, so let me share the screen and the titles. I will be adding that on Moodle site too. Okay, let me switch on the screen. This is one book, like rather you can make use of this particular. You write this, then you would be seeing this book. Only difference here is it talks mainly. It never talks about NASM. It mainly talks about gas GNU assembler. Okay, so this is one book. There is another book that you may make use of. Guide to Assembly Language Programming in Linux. Okay, I hope. Okay, so probably I may have links of it. So let me see if I can get. This one another book that you may read. So this is the one which would be easily rather useful for you. Guide to Assembly Language Programming. Okay, Sivarama Dandamudi. So these are the two books that I can recommend to you peoples. Correct? So you choose either of them. So if like if you ask me on primary level, I should read this, and on secondary level, the way that I gave you information about this, I suggest you to read this third chapter from this book. It gives you some information about different tools. Okay, by the way, anyway, like I would be adding some supportive videos, 5 to 6 videos, which like MSc people must have seen rather in their systems 2 course, but for MCA people they might not have. So I will share those videos rather on Moodle course site of LLAP, which you can read or you even can see and you try them like on your laptop. Okay, and it basically talks about tools of the trade. Okay, most of the tools are addressed there. Okay, it tells you how exactly the debugger program is to be used and so on. Right? So there are options given like how to use this GNU assembler. So I'm not going to make use of gas anyway, so we may not use this. We would be using NASM. So you can skip first and second probably. So this you must have seen rather, or you must have used, but you can skip these two, GNU assembler and GNU compiler. But you definitely talk. You can see this GNU debugger, GNU obj dump. Okay, profiler also, if at all required, you can check it. Fine. So after you are done with this, you simply switch to this book and then probably go to yeah. Let me see. You can skip these this part 2 completely. We are not interested in much more. Part 2 and 3 you can skip completely. You can directly start with this. So installing and then debugging assembly language programming. Actually programming starts here. Okay, your actual programming will be starting here. So you can directly jump to this if you install NASM. How exactly NASM is to be installed? You simply write, say for example, let me show you on Linux. So simply you write sudo -s okay, apt-get install and NASM. You simply do this, it will install. Okay, right now as I already installed it, so it will not go with. So maybe you can press tab. Okay, so it already had it. So that's what it says. You already have this. NASM is already there. So you have to write this apt-get install NASM. So it will install current version assembler for you. So on my laptop, I do have 2.14. Okay, so you can install it. I would be adding additional information. How many if I assume that most of you might be having 64-bit machines. So like you can take help of MSc students. So let me see like who are there rather. Those peoples can help you on that front of like understanding or making use of like what is to be done whenever you want to add a 32-bit support. Right, so all those peoples can help you out on that front. Okay, so we'll stop here and probably like I request you to start installing it. Try writing some simple programs. I would be adding those. I would be adding a course on Moodle. Okay, so you please see that and then work out. Okay, we'll be having registration on Saturday for your courses on the final basis. Okay, at this is first stage of like whether which courses would be offered and not. According to that, we have to decide. So Dayanand also would be taking class tomorrow. Okay, so I'm adding a link of probably his course into chat window. So let me first stop recording here.